Okay, go.
Are we good?
Yeah, we're good.
Hello, Para Peeps, and welcome to the Now Debate. It is Wednesday, the 29th of January, and it is 8 p.m. in the UK, and you are live with myself, Richard Oliver, and my esteemed colleague, Jared Walters. And we are doing a show tonight on the Kinnect footage that we have used on investigations over the last couple of years. How are you doing, Jazzy?
I'm doing alright, but I'm having a great day, to be honest. I'm having a really good day. I'm having a really kind of profound, spiritually charged day. I sound like an absolute dip now, don't I? Right, so we're doing Xbox Kinnect.
We are, yeah. But a bit of news, though, before we go on, because there's been a couple of things happening in the world.
Oh, go on, then.
There was quite a severe earthquake in the Caribbean yesterday. I think it happened quite sort of like about 6 o'clock UK time.
7.7 it was, wasn't it? It's been cut up in my news feed all day, isn't it? 7.7 near Jamaica.
Yeah, it was upgraded. Yeah, near Jamaica. So it's a massive earthquake. I mean, it was felt hundreds of miles away. It was felt across the coast of Florida, going up as like 6.2, I believe. They had a tsunami warning in place, but that got dropped sort of quite quickly. But
thank goodness for that.
Yeah, this is a bit, but yeah, and the SARS virus has been reported in Newport.
What is this?
South Wales.
Is this actually SARS or this coronavirus that's going round? The coronavirus. It's a strain of the SARS, they reckon, don't they? But they've named it a corona. But yeah, it's been reported. A family, I believe, in Newport, bless them, has been taken into hospital, and they've been quarantined, and they're taking in quite drastic measures with this virus. I mean, they've even put a report out to the NHS it's still contagious even if you're deceased, which is enough to give you a bum burp, innit? Really? Channel 4 have been putting up, I didn't actually realise it was Channel 4, but it was a guy called Ben Kavanagh, I think his name is, who's actually in Wuhan in China, and he's done some brilliant videos of what it's like living in quarantine in Wuhan, and it's the stuff of movies, so this is something I'm not I kind of like his mentality when he's saying not to get overly concerned about this, but this is something going on in the world, which is things that we were potentially looked at in paranormal magazines and the like when we were kids growing up in the 90s. So we're living a kind of real world situation with this sort of thing now.
They've just announced something. Anybody coming back from Wuhan now to the UK has got to be put in quarantine for 40 days.
Bloody hell. Well,
so that's not going to be fun if you are coming back. I mean, it's going to be pretty frightening if you're a UK citizen out there, as it is.
Well, the mainstream media were saying 2 weeks. 2 weeks most countries are going for. Before we continue, we're getting a little bit of a busy chat here, so I just want to say hi to a few people. So hi to Suzanne, hi to John, hi to Clint, hi to Amanda. Hi to everyone. Please join us in the chat. John says he is in Illinois. Illinois. I can't speak. He's in Illinois and it's 2:02 and it's cold. Hello to you in Illinois. Thank you for joining us, John.
Yeah.
Thank you to Amanda and Suzanne. We did. When I set the stream up, guys, I am awful sorry. For some reason, YouTube decided to set the time as 2300, not 2000. So I don't know what happened there, but it was part of the. I only actually realised the error had happened when I actually went live a second ago. So I apologise for any inconvenience
that's caused. So, Richard, I just want to acknowledge the chat. If you want to continue, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, I just want to say hi to everyone. I can't see the chat where I am at the moment. I've just got basically the live stream in front of me. But yeah, hi to everyone that's joining us on the channel. Yeah, so there's been like I said, there's been quite a few things going on in the world again since we did the last Now debate. So I mean, it's a bit unsettling,
Yeah.
but you know, it's one of them things. I mean, they keep in they sort of like, well, some of the media sort of like, making it sound like it's the end of the world, and then you got some media sources making it out like it's nothing, and it's kind of hard to know what to believe at the moment. It's in a few countries, and it seems to be, it seems to be big news. So
I think it is, but when you're looking at I was watching a comparison with the actual SARS virus, and I think the SARS virus did spread more quickly. So I think like they've definitely got measures for these things. It's like the Australians putting them on Christmas Island. I think is a bit, an overreaction. To be honest, they're saying they're getting obviously different foreign nationals out of Wuhan now. So different embassies are doing that at different times and that sort of thing. So it's a complex situation to deal with. One of the things that they were saying, one of the reporters was saying is it's quite you got like sort of British citizens there with who are married into Chinese families, and it's these sorts of things. It's
well, some of the stories that are coming out of how this thing has been sort of brought into being. I mean, you got people saying they're eating bat soup, and you got I mean, don't get me wrong, they have a quite different sort of palate to us. They do, they'll sort of like if it's moving, they'll eat it. But I mean, really. You can get cross-contamination, but there's no real explanation to say where this has actually come from, that's quite daunting.
When is there in the media, mate? And at the end of the day, the first casualty of any situation like this is the truth. Because whatever it's going to be, people are going to come out with their own theories, and whatever happened would have been deleted. I think at the moment it's a case of just being aware, being supportive if you know anyone who has been affected by this.
Oh my heart goes out to them.
And also remain level-headed and refrain from making any such judgments until such time as information. The one thing about truth, but it's powerful and it comes out in the end. Do you know what I mean? And I think at the moment, the onus has to be on making sure that nobody gets hurt. Or suffers from this, and that's the difficult thing. So is there any other news items you wanted to move on to before we go on to the main course of the evening?
No, I think we've just about covered it. We've been doing I'm thinking about, I might put it out on the old Facebook. I'm thinking about organising a bit of a UFO watch in South Wales, getting a few groups together and see if anybody's interested. Meeting up somewhere like, somewhere nice and, low light pollution, because it come out on Wales Online, the best places to stargaze in South Wales, which I thought was interesting, which I've been to 3 of them. And one of them is the Black Mountains, just past Brecon Beacon. And that is exquisite. You can see the edge of the Milky Way. We watched the space station come over. It is beautiful. There's so little light pollution up there. So I'm thinking about, a couple of weeks organising something like that. We might talk about it in the Now debate if anybody's interested. But yeah, I've just been doing some research on the old the Kinnects, to be honest with you, Jazz.
Well, what I would say, if anyone wants to connect, if we do put any events or like that on, the best place to hear about it would be our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Paranormal Now. And there's also a group, Paranormal Now Investigations, of which you can join as well. And Richard tends to post his updates and different things he finds in the circles of the online community on there. So the Xbox Kinnect, what do you know about it? Because this is interesting, because I'm coming from a gaming background. One of my passions is gaming. So, what have you got about it that you've been researching? Well, I'm eager to hear this.
Well, I did it. I've just done a bit of sort of research there because I'm not, you know me, and I'm not very technically minded because sort of me, I'm a bit of a dinosaur on technology. You know, I'm old school. But I did a bit of research on it, and basically, this is how the machine works in its principle, right? So I'll try and give it as sort of like I've written it down. I've done PowerPoint, so I'll try and give it as less complex as I can because even though we love science and science is fantastic, you know, it is quite a complicated device. But basically, it
Can
uses
I interject? Sorry,
Yeah.
very quickly, Rich.
Yeah.
Being as what I probably could do before you go into the technicalities of it, just explain what from the Xbox side of things, what it is. Have you gone into that as in the sense from the gaming perspective of, I should have asked you this before the show started really, as in like the gaming applications of it, or are you looking more on the paranormal side of it?
Well, it's the gaming concept of it, which I was going to sort of like.
Go on, yeah.
There's something quite interesting which I didn't know about the Xbox Connect, which
Okay.
I've got by ear. Basically, this is how it works. It uses an RGB color VGR camera, which is RGB is red, green, blue,
Right.
right? Which is a video graphics array video camera. It uses a depth sensor and a multi-array microphone. Right? That's
Okay.
the three basic things it uses. But it uses an invisible set of lights, which it sends out in infrared,
Yeah.
okay, which it maps 3D imagery around its surroundings.
Yeah.
And then it's got a sensor chip, which measures the distance between each pixel and sends that information back.
Right. Okay.
Right? Embedded in that then is imaging software, unique imaging software, I might add, which is a depth map, right, which identifies objects in real time.
Right.
But what it does do, which is quite fascinating, which you didn't know, I know it maps the human body,
Right.
but it actually maps the human face. So it's looking for two of those physicalities
Right.
to recognize an object, which I didn't know it did the face recognition. I thought it was just looking for sort of like limbs in a three-dimensional space.
Is this the both models, or is this the 360 model, or because there's two models of Kinects, and there's one that come with the Xbox 360, and the other one came with the Xbox One, and I know the Xbox One was upgraded. So which one has the face?
This is the basics of both devices, right?
Right,
This is
okay.
sort of like because the original cost as well of the Xbox Kinects was £30,000, right, per item, and within like so long they reckon they sold like 5 million units, and they sold them at £150 each.
Yeah.
But this, the fact it uses the face recognition kind of makes it a little bit more creepy.
Yeah.
Because when you see the figure, right, when the figure appears, obviously it's looking for body structure, so it's looking for a human body in three-dimensional space.
Yeah.
Right? But it's also looking to map the face. So if it recognizes both the body and the face, then it knows it's looking at the person.
Right. Okay.
Which, you know, most people, and I did think it just maps a human. It's looking for the physical form. It's looking for two arms, two legs. You know.
That was my understanding of it. Yes.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. This is the thing, and when I sort of read into the research, and I was like, ooh, it gives it a bit more validity.
Yeah, absolutely.
To the figure appearing, you know, as we've used it on investigations.
Well, I remember the original E3 conference where they had the lady was using the Xbox Kinect. Now, basically, for those of you who don't know, you have 2 or 3 brands of game consoles, which is normally PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo. Nintendo in 2006 brought out the Wii, and Microsoft and Xbox were left wailing in the winds because the Wii was the most bought console, outselling the Xbox 360 by millions, and the Xbox 360 sold pretty well, both which outselling the PS3. So they were trying to come up with concepts because the Wii itself was appealing to the more casual gamers, because with the Wii, rather than use a joypad like you normally would use for gaming, a controller, you would use controllers that you hold with your body. Most people have played a Wii, okay, but that's the basic premise of it. When Microsoft brought the Xbox Kinnect out, they basically wanted similar things where you use your body to control the video game.
Yeah.
So like there's a Star Wars one where you have a lightsaber fight and you've got to move your body, for example, to move the Jedi and the lightsaber. But they didn't have any controllers. PlayStation opted for controllers, the same as Nintendo. With Xbox, they went for like a more there's like 3D mapping, how they do characters in games and that sort of thing. And yes, the point of the face recognition was in certain games, like for example football games, wrestling games, sports games mainly, you could actually import your face into the creator mode, so you could put yourself into the game.
Yeah.
So that was one of the reasons why they did it. PlayStation did it with the iToy, and Nintendo, I don't think, did it up until maybe the Switch now, to be honest with you. They might have done it with the Wii U, but I'm not sure. But that was the basic premise behind it. Not coming at it from a conspiratorial sort of point of view, but that from a gaming perspective, that was the principle behind it.
They've discontinued it apparently, right? The Kinnects.
Yeah.
I was reading on some sources. Now it made me think about, remember the Sony camera, which was built back in the 80s, 70s, and going up into the 80s.
Yeah.
And they basically, Sony built this camera and they used a full spectrum. Well, nobody knows what they used, but according to sources, it was a full spectrum lens.
Mm-hmm.
And I know through personal experience that I've seen footage recorded by one of these cameras, and they took them off the market because people were picking up. These things have filmed UFOs, they filmed spirits, they filmed all sorts of things, these cameras, and Sony took them off the market, and the powers that be got involved, and they were like, you've messed up by here. It's kind of in the same sort of realms as that, because I know, I can't think of his name, escapes me.
Kind of disagree with that. A lot of that came about with the Kinnects. From what I know, following this, because this is a passion of mine, so I followed it. I'm not saying that what you said about the Walkman is quite interesting, and very similar with the Panasonic radio that Huff uses, the digital recorder. That was discontinued, and to get one of them now is like, you're looking about $2,000. With regards to the Xbox Kinnect, a lot of it had to do with when they brought out the Xbox One. Microsoft had a DRM policy. I don't know what DRM stands for, but the premise was the Xbox was always on, excuse me, and always connected online. And this is around about the time all the Snowden stuff come out about the NSA and that sort of stuff, around about 2013. And a lot, they were pushing they made a bit of a business decision that turned on them, basically, which is why the Xbox One isn't as popular. They had to retcon a lot of the technology that they had, because people were simply not going to buy an Xbox One if it always had to be online and always had to be connected to the Kinnect. So that whereas the Kinnect was becoming an optional extra, it was actually a must-have, originally planned to be for the Xbox One, until they had to withdraw it, and sort of they reeled back because Sony came out and said, right, if you don't want any of that, buy a PS4, and basically we've got the games and everything to support it. So what Microsoft were trying to do was make the Xbox One more of an entertainment platform than a gaming platform, and they misjudged the audience entirely. And it basically got rolled back. What I
mean is, it's in the same realms of creating something without thinking of what it potentially could do.
Yeah.
Like the Sony camera, like the Panasonic, the dictaphone. It's in that realm because obviously it was incorporated as a paranormal tool.
Yeah, well, I for one did not ever make that connection that the Kinnects would become a paranormal tool. It's very strange how around that time, YouTube was in its infancy when Kinnect was coming out, where people were putting videos online saying, these are not paranormal people. They're not people that have beliefs in ghosts and doing it to make videos. These are people who are playing games.
Yeah,
and
and
suddenly,
they were picking up
stuff is happening around them, and the camera's picking up what's happening. I just want to bring digital rights management. Thank you, Amanda. Amanda's just looked up DRM. It was digital rights management, and that was the big thing that it was all about. Also, Amanda makes the point that the Kinnects will pick up things like furniture, and yes, you are right there. The camera does look for the human form. So when you are using it as a tool, you want to try and do it in a place that isn't going to have, where you can try and rule that out. And these videos we're going to show you tonight are going to be a bit more like that. If we are where we've tried to interact with the spirits and that sort of thing. But yeah, it's really interesting what you're saying. For these things are created without having the foresight of what it was. But to be honest, when you told me about it, I was like, well, it's Kinnect is crap. I'd rather play a Wii. Basically, was my opinion on the Kinnect.
Yeah.
Until you told me about it, and I actually went and researched it. I had no idea whatsoever.
Well, I first saw it used on Ghost Adventurers, and I can't think of his name. The guy that builds loads of devices for Ghost Adventurers, and one of the first times I ever witnessed it being used was on Ghost Adventurers, and they used it, and I can remember this footage, and they're filming a stage, and a band appears, right? And I can remember just being absolutely blown away, just as they were filming it, and they got this band to interact. And I can remember thinking, wow, this, we need to get our hands on this. This is important, paranormal equipment. Because the interaction is amazing. And, I can remember that, I think that was the first time I ever saw it being used like that, and because it'd been converted. And I was just unbelievably impressed by it, thinking, wow, what is this camera's doing? This camera's got so much technology in it. It's picking up things that the eye can't see.
Well,
and it's fascinating.
It's interesting in the sense, the point you make about devices being made, and obviously I don't think any paranormal device really was made with the intention of being a paranormal device, other than a ghost box app. So, which is basically a furthering of an idea that started from something else, and there's probably plenty of other fields that can be applied to. But you even look at the simple ghost box, the humble SB7. It's basically a radio with a wire missing.
Yeah,
that's all it is. It's a radio that's got a little bit of it missing, where rather than you turn the dial, it just sweeps through radio. And
the military, designed the first sort of used EMF detector in their research of the paranormal. The military, because they were picking up on their instruments, they were picking up at these anomalous fields, and they sort of it was that investigation which was done by the military, which was it cost them millions,
an arm and a leg.
yeah, basically. And they come to the conclusion there is such a thing as the paranormal, and that invention, there's so many things that have come about through discovery of the paranormal. Like if you look at the ghost box with the skull group experiments, and things like that. The technology that was sort of came out of that investigation, which was put onto a film. Which if any of you's interested in the paranormal, the skull group experiments are really fascinating and one to look at. It's very hard to find, but
no, it's not actually. It's on UFO TV. If you go to a YouTube channel called UFO TV, and the video is called The Afterlife Experiments. I will link it in the description below.
Wicked. There we are. It's easy to find now because we found it. So great.
Well, it's hard for you to find, but I found it.
I found it very hard to find before because I was talking about it to someone, and I said, and I tried to look for it, and it was a bit difficult to find this. I mean, there's a documentary by I can't think of the guy who always does all undercover stuff. His name just escapes me.
Yeah, I know. That is the one. I'm pretty sure of it.
Yeah, he's the one that does all. He used to do like the football hooligans and go undercover in crime and stuff. And he hosts this show about the Skull Group experiments. It's fascinating, amazing, done under amazing control conditions, and the evidence they come out with is just beyond. It's beyond imagination. And it's little things like that, and these sort of like new technologies and new things, and they come, like Amanda said, it does find patterns. So if it finds like two doorknobs and then there's a single one underneath, it's sort of thinking, is that a face?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's looking for them. It's sort of looking for them patterns, right? Which we've sort of seen, and we investigated that it's seen a cupboard and it's sort of, that's a person, and it's like, no, it's a cupboard. You know what I mean? But it's fascinating, like.
That's broke me now. That's just you see two doorknobs, so one underneath you're gonna think it's our face. Right, I'm just trying to think of any situation where you would lay out two doorknobs and then have another underneath.
I don't know. Which is the best analogy I can come up with. So we're not scientists, are we? No, no, but it's little things like it's little things like that. I love them. But when we first used the Kinnect box personally, I can remember just thinking, wow, this is a bit of a downside to it, which I will talk about, is when we did use it on a case, which I found that the people who I was investigating for could obviously, they want, because as most people do, they want to sort of like walk around with you and find out what you're doing. Do you know, when they want to know if you're like, if you're going to start
walk around their house for a start,
Yeah, well, and they're obviously thinking, with strangers, and they think, they're going to like go for my drawers. But they walk around with it. Well, when we had, it's quite a big screen on, as you'll see in the videos.
Well, you can see it on screen now. The screen on your screen now, you can see what you see in there is the actual Kinnect camera is behind on the screen. I tell you what, should we roll the first video and then we'll talk about it a bit more.
Yeah, go on and get it on. Let's have it.
Well, what we're going to show the first video. Now, this is going to be an ambiguous one because, and it's quite apt that we've tried this. So this will be the first one to show. Okay, it's a quick video. All right. Basically, it's of Richard holding the Kinnect as he's going around the corner. Now the camera is like very long and quite thin, and it's located behind the tablet. The screen you see on screen is a tablet. It's just a Windows tablet, basically.
Yeah, it's just below it. It is actually on that stand.
Yeah, but it goes on the corner, and the figure, we spot a figure, but it's. Have a look at what happens here and see what you think, because this is what I would call anomalous. I wouldn't say it's paranormal. I would say it's anomalous. So have a look, and we'll be back in a second. Okay, and so that was quite an anomalous looking one, because what you could see was a figure on screen, and as Richard is walking around the corner, you can see a figure appear on the screen just as the light is turned on, or before the light is turned on. Now, I don't know whether that's actually a figure or something that Kinnect itself has picked up, but it's quite interesting as to what that is. Richard, what's your thoughts on that video?
The thing is, we did it. I noticed it a couple of times, mapping things that weren't figures, right? But it would do it in such a way, right, as the figure would be still, okay.
Yeah.
But in that case, I mean, we did on numerous occasions pick up these figures, and we had interaction.
This is
so.
Go on. Sorry.
Yeah, so basically, it's very hard to determine when you have just sort of like a quick, like that one. It was almost like it was so quick. It was like you didn't, did you spot it? Yeah, it's one of them things you can only sort of determine it through what you know about the case, any other evidence you have, and what your findings have been up until that point. But for that, yeah, it is very quick, and it does appear to map something.
Well, this is a case in the South Wales valleys, and this particular case, it was a lady that was having several issues in her house, and her house is built on a pit site, one of the biggest pit sites in Wales. And we believe that a lot of the issues were to do with the miners. Now, we're not going to speak too much about this case because we may do a now debate on this actual case later on down the road, because there's much more evidence to go through, and we haven't concluded that yet. We're not ready to come forward with everything that we've got with that. But we think what we'll probably do is put that into a video and talk about that on a future session of the Now Debate dedicated to that one case.
Well, if we just give us sort of like an overview, the case for the family was very, very dramatic and really needed us to investigate. Like evidence-wise, there wasn't as much as you would expect, which is sometimes the case. But what we did find was quite, there is a photo. I will try and get it so you can tag it in the thing. But one, if you remember, Jar, the one that got deleted.
Yes.
Which to this day is one of the most creepy things I have. I'll try and describe it. We're panning into a doorway. There was a white face, and it was looking at the ghost box. And one of our investigators, Martin, was doing the ghost box, and he stood up, he took some photos, and he took this photo, and this thing was looking, it was the most bizarre thing, and it was looking. And as you know, with most like Samsungs, if you've got photos, they go in a recycling bin, and it gives you like 15 days before you actually delete them, if you put it in there. Now this photo was erased from the phone, just erased. It was gone. And that was sort of like the start of the investigation, really, wasn't it? It was like it was the start of us investigating. And I remember that face as sort of etched in my mind, because it was that profound and that sort of strong that it sort of like. But we didn't get anything else like that on that case, except for. Which another thing, which I have gone through my photos, which for some reason I'm finding bizarre that they're not on there. And there was weird reflections, which I can remember was strange, because there was a lot of like different sort of reflective surfaces on this case, Jack.
Yeah.
If you remember, and they were causing some really weird effects with photos.
Yeah.
But yeah, the case was it was quite a big deal.
It was quite a very interesting case. So we're going to have a look now at another Kinnect bit of footage that you found on that case. This one of the areas affected by this was a wardrobe, where children kept seeing people by the wardrobe, and the wardrobe was opening. So
and the cupboard next to the wardrobe, the drawers would fly out and land on the children as well, which and I heard this from the children.
And so obviously that's quite dramatic. So this is the piece of footage that we found from there.
You heard you like to play around with this wardrobe in this bedroom? Are you next to the wardrobe? Can you show yourself? Okay. That was pretty cool. That's next to the wardrobe as well. That's the actual cupboard. Okay, thanks for that. Can you move away from can you move closer to the wardrobe? Can you do that for us? Can you touch the wardrobe? Lean across and touch the wardrobe. Okay, thank you for that.
Thank you.
We don't mean you any harm. We're just here to communicate with you and find some answers off you. Do you belong to the furniture? Is that why you're here? Oh. That was what I asked for.
Yeah, well, that's pretty much, wasn't it?
Yeah. Okay. Can you do that again? Can you appear by the side of the wardrobe for us? We saw you disappear. We're not here to cause you any harm. We're just trying to help this family and find evidence. We're trying to show people that you exist beyond death. And we're here to help you as well. We promise we don't mean you any harm. Just need answers.
Okay, so that was the second instance. Just going to click back on the chat and see how you guys are doing. Clint says, Chris says, "Hey, Paranormal now. I can hear another Welsh accent." Yes, Chris, we are from the Welsh Valleys. And
We are.
he says, "What's happening?" Amanda said it to the last video. She can't see how it could have mapped inanimate objects. It didn't have time for it. Yeah, absolutely. But again, it was mapping that room before that video came on. So obviously I've clipped the video a little bit sooner. So it does have that possibility. What's your feeling on this particular clip then, Richard?
Well, I mean, I asked that figure that appeared on the Kinnects to interact, and it did reach out towards the wardrobe, and it sort of, you know, as we've used the Kinnects, I sort of kept an eye on it, mapping human form. So if there's somebody real in front of me, and I've seen them bend, and I've seen them move, and I've seen how the Kinnects has mapped them, and that did actually, looking at the Kinnects footage, it did look like there was a person there that we couldn't see. And, you know, I always try and get it to interact. So whatever I asked it to do, if it does it, I mean, that's a physical effect. I can't make that Kinnects do that. You know what I mean? It's doing it because I'm asking it to do it. So that sort of gives it a bit of credence to me. And it was, we had a couple of figures that night on that investigation, and that was a good one. That was interesting. As you heard in my voice, I had a little chuckle because, like, the Kinnects, like I said, I've loved using it on the paranormal, and
Yeah, I thought that was quite. I think that's quite interesting footage. Myself, if I was watching that from, that was somebody else's footage, I'd be impressed. So,
Excellent.
for me, I was at the time, I was impressed at the interaction I had.
And that's what you're looking for, is interaction, because
Yeah,
these are tools that and I don't think we've scratched the surface at the moment. We haven't quite
no,
scratched the surface of what we can do with this equipment and technology, and what it can tell us about ourselves, because there's interaction there between you and something or someone on
mhm,
another frequency or another vibration, and
yeah.
you're asking it to show it's there, and that is,
Well,
that's
well,
quite something.
Martin, who built the Kinnect device, was with me, and you can hear him as well. He was like, that did what he wanted it to do. Do you know what I mean? And it did. I asked it to do, reach out and reach towards the wardrobe, and it did. So it's what you say about sort of footage like that. I mean, you're going to get people that's going to say, "Oh, it was this, it was debunk it," but I'm struggling to debunk some of the Kinect footage we've had. I really have on all the cases we've done with it.
Well, Chris is asking. He says, "Doesn't it just look creepy though?" Which it can do.
Oh, well,
Um,
was the point I was making before the video was
yeah.
the family was watching the camera and they were seeing these figures appear and they got quite frightened.
Mm.
Which, in hindsight, I should have thought about. I didn't think about it because I didn't know if we were going to get anything. To be honest with you,
Yeah. No.
but I would never ever do that again if I could help it. And that's have the person whose home it was seeing these figures, because basically, it's like us as mediums. We say we see things and what we pick up and we give it, and it's sometimes, as you know, Jazz, it's beyond measure.
Yeah.
The things we say, we couldn't possibly know this impossible, which we kind of proved on the Paranormal Scholars documentary.
It's In Search of the Dead. A quick cheap
Yeah,
plug, guys.
yeah,
Is a YouTube channel called The Paranormal Scholar, and they are brilliant. The pair of them are absolutely fantastic,
amazing.
amazing to work with, and they decided they were doing like YouTube sort of top 10 type videos and sort of in-depth stories, paranormal stories, and they decided to go on their own journey and explore the paranormal for themselves, and what a journey it took them on. If anyone is interested in learning the fundamentals of the paranormal, in understanding what it's like to live that life or go on that journey, it's called In Search of the Dead, and it is on Vimeo. But if you look for Paranormal Scholar on YouTube, they will have links there, because they have trailers, etc., for the
Yeah,
film. And honestly, I think it's about £5 to buy it, and it's a good hour and a half film, and it's paranormal documentary. There's part murder mystery. There's so much in that.
yeah, it covers everything
It
for me.
covers so much. It's well worth a watch, and
Yeah,
honestly, have a look, guys. You will not regret
mm,
it. It covers it from such a good aspect, such a grounded aspect of being, from the science side of it and from the spiritual side of it. It doesn't sort of make that determination. It allows you to make your own mind up of what they had, but gives you the information to do that in an informed way. And
mm,
brilliant storytelling and
yeah.
brilliant documentary. Uh,
Yeah. Sorry, Jazz, I was trying to make a point, but basically, it gives the people, if we're doing a case and they can see that connects, it's giving them an insight into what it's like to be a medium, and it's quite frightening. And they were seeing these figures appear, and it frightened them. So yeah, it is creepy, and it's like EVP. Nothing in the paranormal creeps me out as much as an EVP, because I've had Class A EVPs over the years, and something is talking to you, and you physically, audibly can't hear it. But when you record it and you listen back, and it's actually interacting with what you've said, I got goosebumps just talking about it. Some of the EVPs we've had over the years have been just beyond, like, unbelievable.
And yeah, so yeah, it is creepy. You are right.
How about doing a show on EVPs next week?
We can do a show on anything. We got so much stuff, yeah.
Well, I was thinking perhaps we've done the Connect. What do you let us know in the chat, guys? Would you like us to do a show specifically about EVPs? We're not on about ghost boxes. I'm on about the times where we have generally had a voice come out of nowhere and said things to us. Would you like that? Let us know in the chat. Hello to Marceline. Nice to see you, and hear from you, my good friend. Chris, in answering your other question, it says, does it look creepy though? What does spirit prefer to come through on, devices or tools? Well, spirit prefer to come through to us as people. And that's just, I'm not saying mediums, right? Yeah. Because we all have that potential to communicate with spirit. Yeah, it manifests in different ways. So I'm not saying everyone should be a medium. To some people, you know, the ways of people interacting with your own spirituality, your own spirit, and the world of spirit is personal to each person.
Well, you do. I gotta be honest. You do get the characters as well as they was in life, right? You get the characters in your family who would have been the type of person to like gate crash or photobomb. And I've noticed that over the years of investigating, you get that character of that person has that interaction with the physical world as well. Because the amount of photos you'll see, you know, you've all seen them if you're into the paranormal, where you've got like somebody, it looks like their grandpa's in the photo, and there's the famous one with the lady in the middle of the table, and the whole family was there, and this lady who was their nan just appears in the middle of the table. Do you know what I mean? But that was her personality. You will get them instances where they go, oh, I'm going to get in here. I've had it myself personally with my own, my nanny Brie. She did a photo bomb, and you know, she looked like a wisp of smoke. But everybody in the family I showed the picture to was like, oh my God, that's nanny Brie. But that was her character. But yeah, on a real world scale, you know, if they can interact with you in that sense, then they're probably going to try that. But I would say that can be sometimes quite scary.
Yeah.
It can be quite scary because it does set the precedent for us as investigators. Because the amount of times, as you know, Jack, we've gone to cases and it's just a loved one trying to get your attention. And, you know, that can be, the problem is that creates a paranormal incident and then you're frightened, so everything's heightened and everything becomes paranormal.
Yeah. Well, look,
you know, so
this is the thing with the ghost box. What I went through when we went through a lot of our evidence, I found there were several messages from my brother. And as you well know, Richard, and those who may have followed my own personal channel, which I will be doing more work on, I'm currently setting things up and getting things ready at the moment, exploring my path with my brother. But the first thing was that, you know, there's like the footage I saw on this channel where he says, I say, is that Jonathan? He says, I'm your brother, you docile prick. That sort of validation is, it can have an effect. It is scary. It's not run, oh my God, scary. It's like you haven't seen someone you hold dearly for so long, and then you never thought you'd get the chance to speak to them, and you do in a physical way, which when we're here, our main frame of reference is physicality. So having that experience it changes you. It changes you.
It does. And it is, you know, it is frightening.
It's not just frightening, it was everything. It was and that was the best route for me, because I was meant to hear that message or those messages, and there's lots of them. So it depends on what you're working with or what you're dealing with. The next clip is from the same investigation. This one doesn't include that much interaction, but it does, I think, sum up a lot of the things that we're talking about here. So I'm going to play the next clip. As we are getting some things from the chat. So Marceline asks, have you ever heard of the ghost of Camel Main? Have you, Rich?
That sounds awfully familiar, that. I was like, I'll be honest with you.
We'll have a look into that then. And
yeah. It sounds familiar, so I probably need to jog my memory. But does she have any relevance for it? You know, is there something she'd like to know about it, or?
I'm not sure. If you're listening, Marceline, then I think it's a he, by the way. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, sorry, is it?
I'm not entirely sure. If you want to let us know on the chat, then we will come back to this subject. If you think about that, that's crazy. Let us know. Let us know what the frame of reference is, and we will speak more of it. So we're going to go on to the next clip. This is of the same investigation, and this is the continuation of... No, this is the walk around we did on the first night. The first... Yeah. We did 2 nights investigation at this property. What you've seen so far has been the second night. This was the first night, so we'll be back in a second.
Can you come forward? Can you move towards us? Can you see us? Can you move towards us?
Yes, mate. Yeah. I have a tablet.
Can you move towards us, please? We can see you on this camera. Are you waving at us? Can you wave?
Thank you.
Can you walk in? Stand up in the middle of the kitchen. Come to the middle of the doorway. I'm not going to do you any harm. Oh. I went into this room. Right. I just went through the wall. Are you in this room?
I don't know why it feels like it's gone upstairs.
You see I just dived through the wall?
Yeah, it's on camera too.
Yeah. Oh. No. Right, can you move to the middle of the room?
Why is he flashing like that?
I don't know, I'm just going nuts. Just bowed his head. Can you come towards me? What is that doing?
Someone just touched my arm. Just went like that.
Can I come towards you? I'm going to move towards you, okay? Don't be frightened, love.
Okay, just to have a look at the chat, Marceline said it was a YouTube channel and he'll send us a link for that. So thank you for that. EVP next week. Looks like it could be interesting. So to answer the original question that Chris, I believe, was the one who put it up, how did it compare to other things we had that night? There's a lot we're still going through, but we did have several names and incidents going back to the place on the ghost box. We are in the process of transcribing and researching that and really seeing if we can tie it together. But what we need to do is perhaps get more information from people who may be connected to the area and see if we can validate the information that we have so far. So there's still quite a bit of work to do on this case, and that's what we're doing with a lot of our evidence, and it takes a lot of time. This is one of the reasons why the videos on the channel stopped for a year, because we did take a lot of time out to start looking over our evidence, because we were building up so much of it that there needed to be time to sort of lighten the load a little bit.
And we had a lot of personal stuff.
We had a lot of personal stuff going on as well. But
yes,
that
we
was
did.
one of the main sort of reasons that we stepped back. And I think we're coming back a little bit better these days, hopefully. I'm hoping we are learning from our mistakes, and well, not mistakes, but learning from our experiences and, you know, having better ideas. What's your thoughts on that particular video then, Richard?
Well, I did laugh at you saying, it kind of made me giggle a bit there when I was watching the video when we first saw the figure and you went thank you. That was a funny thank you. I just got to throw that out there.
That's my. I'm slightly amazed by this. Thank you. I had a moment like that earlier today, and it's just like it. Do you know it's one of those times where, because I can see this and I work with it, because I work, you know, as a practicing medium, because I'm never, you know, you never get perfect at it, so that's why I'm a practicing medium.
Yeah.
As I work as this quite a lot, you know, this is my full-time sort of job, it can sometimes become like you take it for granted. Yeah. And then that thank you is that little kind of thing I have for those times where it just reminds me how wonderful it all is, how fascinating it all is, and how humbled.
It's humbling. It is humbling.
How humbled I feel. Because there's times when I've just been put in, you know, we've both been put into situations where people are looking at us to sort of find out why their house isn't a home anymore, and you know, we can be put on the spot personally, you know, in these tough situations.
It is a burden. It is a burden to bear.
But it's also, you know, it's so humbling and so rewarding as well to actually go on this journey.
Absolutely.
It is, and that's the thing that Chris said there does need to be consistent sessions at places. It's not just you go in, say hello, and out again. Yeah, absolutely. It's not so much consistent in places, though. It's more a consisting of... A lot of people will go in and they'll explore, let's say, an abandoned hospital, and they will get the creepiness and the video, and they'll put out in the video, and that's their exploration done. If a lot of people with ITC will just do a ghost box session, oh, I heard this word, that word, this word. There's no thinking about the communication that is taking place, and this is where interaction.
Well, and there's not much thinking that goes into anybody really doing the paranormal. If you watch the media and watch, you know, you could watch like 80% of YouTube. I mean, there's I'm not going to mention names, but there's some groups going about now, and they're big names, and they're doing things that is just beyond my imagination. There's one that just did one now where they summoned a demon live. I mean, come on. I mean, it's not just yourself you're affecting, it's the people that's watching. And, you know, it's curiosity. You're thinking you're safe because they're doing it and you're just watching it. That's not always the case. Right? That is genuinely not always the case. I know people that have been in the same room as somebody doing a seance, and they've been really affected by it. Right? So, I mean, these things, and, you know, we get in all these groups and all these people going around and they're getting lights flashing and they're not thinking about the human, physical aspect of what or who it is they're communicating with, what they've been through, why they're there. You know, there's so much to this that people just skip over, and it upsets me. It doesn't. It doesn't anger me or anything. It just upsets me. Thinking, you know, the dangers in it.
the dangers in the paranormal. That's a now debate in itself.
Well,
the dangers.
we have done now debates on that and I think they are on the channel where we've explored that in greater detail. But in order to sort of, it's like any other craft. It's like, you want to know how to be a chemist. Perhaps you did chemistry sets when you were younger, or you want to learn a martial art. It's like going to a karate class and go, right, how do I learn how to kick people? And the sensei turns around and goes, well, it's probably more can count with kung fu than karate, actually, but so we'll use kung fu as an example. The idea of using kung fu is so you never have to use it. There's so many aspects to it, and it's a case of people are trying to run before they can walk, and they're not thinking about the implications of what's going on. And I feel that there's lots of opportunity in the paranormal field for people to actually connect. And, we are verging on, possibly having two-way connection using these devices with spirit. And there are so many different things that can be explored here with these different tools that we have.
Yeah,
but
which
also,
should never be taken lightly.
Which should never be taken lightly, but also you need to know how to do it yourself, because no tool's ever going to work if you haven't got the connection yourself. Now, does that mean that you have to sit down and meditate every day? For some people, that's what it takes. Other people do it in different ways. So it's where the questioning comes in. Okay, I heard a sound. I heard an EVP. Why? Why did someone go to that effort? Don't worry about the next bit or what's going to come next or can we get better. Worry about the one you've just had.
Yeah.
Or why that person has gone to that effort, because it is a person. Why that person has gone to that effort to show you why they're there. And at the end of the day, if that was a real life flesh and blood person, you wouldn't stand there and ignore them. And that's what frustrates me, but also that's where I see the potential, because whereas there are a lot of people going for the cameras with this, and there's a lot of that kind of mentality in the paranormal, there are those that are doing it, that want to explore it, but it's knowing where to start. It's knowing, they probably never thought to ask those questions. And I think this is where I want our videos to inspire people, is to be able to ask the questions, but also know the cost of what you're going into, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Because
it is, it is that element of it. It's like, these beings, these sentient beings, are defying the laws of physics to get you a message. Appreciate it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Appreciate it is. I've got friends that do it to me because quite a few people know I'm a medium, and they'll ring me up and ask me the craziest stuff. And it's like, yeah, I'm going to get, the powers that be to defy physics and the universe, just so you can know if you should get this job or that job. Do you know what I mean? And it's just like, it's little things like that, and you think, that's what you're asking is not just a simple thing. Yeah. There's a lot that I personally have to think about before I give, just on a mediumistic set, before I give a message, I have to think of what am I getting, what am I doing, how is this going to sound, what's the effects of it, who's it going to hurt, are they hanging on every word I say? And it's like, it's the same with the paranormal. If that, like this Kinnect footage we just saw, which is amazing, you see the figure jump through the wall, and then it's on the other side of the wall, right? If that's not enough, if you were just going out into the paranormal field and you get that sort of footage and that's not enough, nothing will be enough.
Go on.
Yeah, I'm just saying that if that's not enough, then nothing will be enough. It's one of them things you keep chasing more and more, and some it's like that. It's like that saying, careful what you wish for, because once you see something, you can never unsee it. And that can, I try and tell people that all the time. Yeah, it's great going out and doing these things, but once you see something, you can never unsee that, and you can be surprised how much that will unsettle you.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. Marceline's making the point about when we slow things down on the ghost box, and yes, when you can, there's a lot of stuff that we can hear in real time, and this is what we're saying. This is an emerging thing, and obviously there are going to be lots of people who are detractors from it. Are going to have very good questions, very good. This is, I try and be, as much as I can, even though I work as a medium, the skeptic, because I actually feel I sit over there a bit more than I do with the mediums, because you've always got to be questioning it. With regards to slowing things down, with regards to that, Marceline, it's more to try and put it in a way that the audience can digest it.
I'm trying to make the sounds clearer as well.
And make sense of it. When you can hear it in real time, there's a lot that's missed. Now, is that a perfect scenario? No, it's not. Absolutely not. Is some of what we're getting interpretation? Absolutely. And at the end of the day, what we get is our interpretation as part of our journey. There are things that I hear through different devices, or I might think it says one thing, Richard will think it says something else. What I find is quite undeniable is when someone gives their name, or when someone gives a piece of information that couldn't have come from any other source. And I feel that is, that is where you've got to look for the magic 3, as Richard said, the last one. And we're going to put this into the last video, because this video is very much so a kind of a magic 3 situation. So take a look.
Do you want to map me and see if it'll come towards me?
I got you.
You got me?
I got you mapped.
And the thing is, I can't. Do you want to record it with the other hand?
Just see if it happens. Just see if we can get into action.
Stick it on record. There we go.
That's fine.
Okay, do it again.
Right, how do I stick it on record?
I think I've already pressed the button.
I was recording right then.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Me?
Yeah, it's coming back now there. No, there you are, it's Kyle. Can you do that again, please? You're asking the spirit in there. Can you move towards Debbie? Can you move towards her? Say move towards her. Well, you did it just now for us. Can you do it again? That's it. Move towards her.
Can you hold my hand?
Go on. He's not going to do you any harm. Move towards Debbie.
Is it coming?
It's gone. Oh, it's still in that corner, whatever it is.
What, over there?
Yeah, it's not moving. Here it comes. Yeah.
I don't mean you any harm. Do you want to come and touch my hand?
It's back. Can you move towards Debbie? Right, here it comes. As you move towards her. Yeah. Can you touch her hand? Trying to touch the top of your head though.
Is it?
Yeah.
Don't mess my hair up. It's frizzy enough as it is.
Can you move your arms for us? Take your hand away from Debbie. Can you move your hand from her head? Take your hand away from her head. Right, this. Bizarrest thing I've ever seen.
What's it doing now?
It's right by the side of you, but it's just changed.
Got goosies.
Yeah, it's changing. Lift your hand up for me, Deb, slowly.
This one?
Yeah, that's it. Keep going. Keep moving up.
Is it taller?
It's just changing because you're touching it. Okay.
So I need to keep going up.
It's moving back now. Okay, it's coming towards you. You literally got your arm around it. It's bizarre. You have to watch your back to see what I'm on about.
Is it still there?
It's gone. Keeps going back down that corner. Right.
Do you want to do some asking now?
Yeah. Oh, right there.
Go back?
Yeah, it's the last side of it now. Okay.
Yep. I feel like my face is fuzzing.
That's weird because it's touching your face. It's actually touching. I got it on camera, but it's touching your face. And it's gone.
Yeah, it's right below.
Yeah, touch your cheek. It actually touched your cheek.
Mad, isn't it?
I got that recorded as well.
So what did you guys think of that one? We are coming very close to the end of the show now. We want to keep this a little bit tighter than last week's outing. But that was quite an interesting one. That was from a different case that happened in another area of the South Wales Valleys where a family were having hauntings. And I believe that was the spirit of a young child. Marceline says, look how human don't move at all. Filmed by the Kinnect and how the spirit is moving fast. That's crazy, Amanda. Thank you to Debbie as well, who was in that show, and thank you to Debbie and Martin for all the contributions that they've made throughout our investigations. Richard, are you still with us?
I am.
So your thoughts on that, my friend?
Well, that is one of my favourites. I got to be honest. That was me and Deb on an investigation, and that was the case in question where the family could see the Kinnects. And luckily enough, they didn't see that one. I know they were on the stairs, but I don't think they saw that, which I think was a good thing. But that, I mean, the fact that it's in the air, right? That kind of blew my mind when it was in the air. I was thinking, is this figure floating? I mean, the shapes, it was sort of changing shape, as you saw. But when it actually jumped to the other side of Debbie and it reached up and touched her cheek, as you heard in the video, she said, I feel something touching my cheek. And she actually went to that side and it reached up, and I watched it reached up and it touched her cheek, and she said, it touched my cheek. And that, if I put it to anyone to try and debunk that, because I've tried, and I put it to anyone that's, that does this, is this in this field or is not in this field, to try and have a look at that and try and see if you can debunk it and make sense of it, because that was genuine. Like you said, the magic 3, you could send something, and picked it up on the Kinnects, it reached up, Debbie felt it touch her face.
Yeah,
that's profound. Without any question, that is profound. That's one of my favourite footage from the Kinnects. And it's the fact it was in the air was a bit surprising as well, because it was like, I was thinking to myself, is it floating? Is it climbing? Because it is a kind of a weird sort of figure, and it does kind of morph and change. But when it goes to the side of it, you see it more on a sort of like, it looks more of the pattern that the Kinnects would make if it picked up a person. But that is up there in my favourite footage. That is one of the best bits of like Kinnects evidence I've seen on the internet, and I've got myself. So, because there was a physical, interaction with the touch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, that's a biggie. That one is. This is
the thing that a lot of people, one of the initial signs that spirit is around them is the fact they feel that touch or that kind of fuzzy sensation on the face, and to actually capture that moment, is that is something that most people that have had any sort of interaction with ghosts or spirits, that's something of which they will always say happens. So to actually capture that, I think is quite a biggie. Guys, if you are enjoying these Now debates, I thank you for following along the chat. I can see a few of you have been having some good conversations, and this is something that we'd like to see continue. Please, we are going to be doing these Now debates on every Wednesday at 8 o'clock. So it is definitely Wednesday at 8. We do release smaller sort of snippets as well of footage. We are going to be putting some other types of videos up as well in the future. But if you are enjoying the content, please pass it on, share it with any friends that you have who are interested in the paranormal, and any help you can do that shares that content and lets other people see it as well would be fantastic, because it's always good to have everyone's feedback, even if you are skeptically minded, if you're a believer. I don't personally like the skeptic and believer argument, to be honest with you, because I think you can be both. But that's my opinion. That's my opinion. That's just the way I view it personally. Like, I'm not trying to view it or put it on anyone else. That's just my opinion on it. But I love seeing the skeptical mindset stuff as much as I do the believer mindset stuff. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. Well, we all sort of come into this skeptical. I mean, you will. I mean, I've had, over the years, I've had lots of people come into me, and they want these, they're searching, and they've been searching for this kind of interaction, to see something, to have something to believe in. And, I always say, go for the personal.
Absolutely.
Don't put all equipment away and just go somewhere that is associated with being haunted, and just see what happens. Just go for it. Just see what you see with your eyes, and just, and if you'd be surprised. But yeah, that is like I said, that Kinnect footage is amazing. Even though I captured it myself, and
I'm big that much, like.
Yeah.
Well,
it could have been worse. I could have gone on about my shirt, but
Well, unless we say what your dress said, the better. It's inspired a business name at one point. So, right, my friend, I think that's all we got time for. Thank you, everyone, for joining us in the chat, and we'll consider an EVP show next week, or we'll see what ideas have got banded around. But we are.
Or if you've seen anything on YouTube, if any of the people that's on the chat now, or any of the people viewing it, if you've seen something on YouTube and you want us to take a look at and give a critique on, send it our way.
Yeah.
Because I love that. I've had that. I've done that over the years, and I've debunked stuff and I proved stuff, and I love that stuff, and I love seeing what's new on YouTube and what people are capturing and stuff like that. But if you've got anything you want us to critique, send it our way, and we'll talk about it.
Yeah, please do. Facebook.com/paranormal now. And you can also contact us through our website, which is www.paranormalnowinvestigations.com. Thank you guys for joining us. I've been Jared Walters.
I've been Richard Oliver.
And that was the Now Debate. Take care.
Love and light, guys.